Hey, welcome to Caching in the Northwest. That intro ended a little quicker than I thought it would. And this is the official podcast of GeoWoodstock 18 right here in the great Pacific Northwest. It's Thursday night at 9 p.m. and I'm Chris of the Northwest. And we're going to talk about geocaches and geocachers from here and all around the globe. So while you're hunting down your package that should have been delivered a week ago, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
Didn't you script that intro? So it should have ended just when you thought it ended.
Sometimes you forget.
Okay. I think he's hunting down the intro he thought would arrive a week ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. That could be. Well, I don't know about a week ago, but tonight we're talking about events. What kinds there are, how to get ready to attend them all again, live audience. We want to hear from you. As always, you carry the show because we know the three of us can't do it. So, it's Thursday night. I'm Wits End, and it means it's time to bring in our power-packed primate.
How plosive.
Plosive. Some say he's grumpy if he doesn't get his morning fiber. And others say he used to bake cookies in a tree until that growth spurt happened. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
Hey.
I don't know if that was your growth spurt or the tree's growth spurt.
It was the tree. It got really uncomfortable really fast.
Ah.
All right. Good to see you, my friends.
Where else would we be on a Thursday night? But here he is.
We would be here on a Thursday night unless we had some other kind of obligations, because that happens from time to time.
And or commitments.
Commitments.
I've often been told I should be committed.
We should all be committed, I'm sure. Yes.
And here we are. We're here every Thursday night.
That's right.
It's our commitment.
Taking down the internets. All right. Hey, before we jump into anything else, it's a quick reminder that we appreciate the support of our patrons who help to keep this podcast coming each and every week. And a special thanks to Land Sharks. They are one of our corporate Denali level sponsors. Well, and you know what? We got a special little message from Land Sharks. They want to thank all their summer visitors. They particularly want to say it was great to see BC Rock Crawler and Cross Stitcher in the Sharks store today.
Wow.
In fact, apparently BC Rock Crawler was getting ready for this event everybody is hoping for this Christmas, because he showed up in the store looking snazzy in his Caching in the Northwest t-shirt. What do you think of that?
Wow. That's very cool.
That is very cool.
Nice.
Very cool. And yes, thanks to everybody who's had the opportunity to go and check out the new Sharks store down by the water.
That's right. And there's still a couple weeks of summer left on the calendar, so you can still be a summer visitor.
You still can. Absolutely. And you know what? We got another corporate Denali level sponsor. Well, that's Gold Country Geotourism.
Mm-hmm.
They want to remind everybody to know before you go, explore Gold Country, and that's explore. What is it? Hold on. What's the website? ExploreGoldCountry.com. I had to go check my notes. I thought I had it right, and I did, but I had to make sure I had it right.
It's so confusing because we say it every week.
I know, right? So yes, ExploreGoldCountry.com. Know before you go. Support the communities up there and enjoy the Geo Tour. There have been some fires and such up there, so some caches are disabled, but you'll be able to figure it out when you look at the map. But most importantly, just check out exploregoldcountry.com, or hey, on Facebook, facebook.com/exploregoldcountry. And folks, you know what? If you want to know more about supporting this very podcast, well, why don't you head on over and click that Patreon link on the cachingnw.com, a website.
Wherever that may be on that, a website.
That's right.
Three Hams is a little upset.
Oh,
says what? No shout out for me visiting their new store via the webcam in their microwave.
That's clearly an oversight.
Yeah, and a little creepy.
Well, things that happen.
I've met Three Hams. Oh,
I'm just gonna park that
those
there.
sentences may not have been meant to come out together like that, or maybe they did. You know what it's time for? It's time for the glow. What is the glow, you may ask? Why, that's the geocaching log of the week. Whether you read it or whether you wrote about it, We want to hear it because great logs simply make geocaching better. You can send an email or a recording to feedback@cachingnw.com. You can also call into 253-693-TFTC and show us just how you glow.
That's right. And this week's Glow was submitted by Greenwords. So thank you, Greenwords, for submitting this. And it's from a cache called A Colony of Swales.
Oh, how swale.
Because, Captain, there be swales here. I think that's different. That's GC3 Yankee Whiskey Foxtrot 4. And the log is by Twin Potato, who I've met up at events, up in BC, speaking of events. So let's check out this log. It says, well, that was a special partial search. Star Rider Cat and I were at the Colony Farm Regional Park doing the nearby Adventure Lab, and we decided to search for some geocaches while we were there, as you do. As we approached Ground Zero, we saw a fellow who had parked his bike in the shade of a tree and was taking pictures of a circling eagle. Star Rider Cat and I continued on and started our search for the cache. Suddenly we heard a splashing noise in the bulrushes. As we'd not seen any dogs that would have gone wading in the marsh, we decided to back away toward our bicycles. I'm glad we did, as less than 10 meters away, a sow and her 2 cubs came out of the marsh onto the trail. She looked at us. However, she was more concerned about the photographer who was running towards her to capture the perfect photo. She moved towards him, and he kept advancing. She'd finally had enough, and she moved aggressively towards him when he backed away, making a loud grunting noise as he went.
As he went down her gullet.
Yeah. I'm not. If I was backing away from a charging bear, I'm not sure if the grunting noise would come from my upper or lower end. But in any case, I continue. Maybe his grunts worked as she stopped moving towards him. From a distance, we saw the cubs climb the tree where his bike was parked, and the sow sat beside the bike. I think she was trying to figure out if she could ride it. Star Rider Cat and I rode a long way back to the parking lot. We found a park ranger and suggested that he may want to go check up on that photographer. So, not a DNF as we not finished our search, but definitely heads up to heed the bear in area signs.
Wow. Indeed.
He went in for the perfect picture.
Yeah.
And she went in for the perfect lunch.
Yeah. Well, I hope he got his Instagram picture because, oh my goodness, that's not smart. Oh dear. Well, thank you very much to Twin Potato and Star Rider Cat for putting that log together. I'm glad they got out safely. Mm-hmm. And thanks to Greenwords for sharing that log tonight.
Yeah.
I guess it's a Canadian thing because that's where I had my bear experience as well.
Oh, yeah, you did up here.
Mm-hmm.
So glow badges all around, Chris? Is that how that works?
Well, at least to Greenwords who submitted that.
All right.
But, I suppose I could send off a glow badge to Twin Potato and Star Rider Cat. You'll have to remind me because right now I've got a podcast to do.
Oh.
And that kind of takes up, everything I'm doing. I could just, sit back, compose an email. You guys wait a couple of minutes.
Yeah. Well, everybody's fine. I think the live audience is fine. Just wait while you type out your email.
Yeah, we might take a little while because we don't have a chat like it tonight. So even though we're asking you to use hashtag event in the chat to add to tonight's show, and of course the hashtag FATAS to bring up a topic in the after show, it's anybody's guess as to whether we're going to see it or not without a chat like So we will do our best. I'm not saying we're ignoring you, but I suck. So that's the short version.
Feel free to, paste that comment in a couple of times.
Yeah.
If we don't get to it.
Hey, I said something pithy. Did you see it? Yeah. That's the perfect hashtag.
Yeah.
And CRS98 says the world is full of stupid people.
Yes.
I believe he's referring to me.
My two co-hosts spend time with one every Thursday night.
Yeah. Well, I don't agree with those last two statements, but I do agree with CRS98's statement.
Most of them are on trails, I've found.
Yeah.
Well, a great number of them, let's put it that way.
Hey, I just want to shout out that we have some, normally we have lots of folks from the Northwest and across Canada and the US who watch this show, and we appreciate every one of you. But I've noticed tonight we've got folks from New Zealand and Australia watching the podcast.
Wow.
From the future.
Yeah. Let us know how life is in the future.
Yeah.
Please
Is Friday
let us
good?
know if tomorrow's not happening, because
We'd
it's
like
going
to
to
know.
throw off my
Yeah.
plans.
That's awesome. Well, welcome to everybody who's watching the podcast. And yes, we will try and get to your comments the best we can as we also go through our topics. And before we do any of that, we've got some news.
Oh,
Do tell.
why don't you read us about the news?
Well, why don't I do that? All right. So if you hadn't noticed, it is now commencing the second, or it's about to commence the second month of Reach the Peak. So hopefully everybody got their pancake Java and they're ready for lunch now, I guess, because that was breakfast. Is that how this works?
And
Sure.
this one's Bison. Isn't
Bison?
that it's
Bison.
Vison, but
don't know.
like venison.
Okay.
So it's
There you
more
go.
of a meat.
More dinner.
Yeah, more
It's the protein for
less
dinner.
carbs.
All right. Well, hey, the leaderboard that you have worked your way up and spent all that energy getting all those points and beat all your friends, it all resets on September 6th. So,
To
oh well,
0. And you start over.
as you start over. But that means you get to start earning the next pair of souvenirs, which, as we were joking around, is Vincent Based Camp souvenir, and then the Vincent Summit souvenir. And I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that correctly. I can't remember which continent Vincent is on. It's probably Europe. It's probably Vincent, but I'm taking a wild guess.
You know what?
anyways.
North Americans tend to make everything about themselves. So pronounce it however you want. The rest of the world will
all right.
just have to say, oh, over there, that kind of people.
All right. Well, noon UTC on Monday, September 6th, the leaderboard resets. And you need 325 points to earn the base camp souvenir. That's going to be really easy. That's just finding one of anything is going to get you to the base camp. So easy peasy, lemon squeezy. But then you need, it's in Antarctica. Well, thank you very much, folks. So who knows how it's pronounced then? It's pronounced however a penguin would pronounce it. All right. The point system this time, I'm very much in agreement with this point system. Notably because Earth caches are right up near the top. Oh, I didn't even say how many points you need for the Summit souvenir. It's 4,892 points.
Which I did the math on the earlier show.
Yes.
If you find just traditional caches,
Yeah.
found at logs, you need 15. That's
yeah,
not
but if all you're doing is finding traditional caches, come on, stretch yourself a little bit. Because you know what? If you find any cache that has 10 or more favorite points, well, you're going to get 600 points.
Ooh,
That's going to speed
Man.
things up.
that's like 7 caches and you're done.
Yeah. And you know what else?
No.
If you find
What else?
the world's best type of geocache, which is an
Park and
earth
grab?
cache, which is an earth cache, you will get 500 points per earth cache that you successfully
be-
submit your answers for and then log.
How can it be the best cache in the world when there's others with more point value? Points are how we determine how good things are.
Well, the only things that have more points are caches with lots of favorite points. So earth caches are best. All right. Anyways, they've got adventure labs in there again. So 450 points for an adventure lab. So I'm sure people will be running out and running through all their neighborhood adventure labs to rack up the points on that. Another great cache type, the multi-cache, is going to be 450 points.
That was higher last month. So they do shift things around.
They are shifting them around somewhat. And then a mystery cache. So that could be a challenge cache, could be a puzzle. Any kind of mystery is 350 points.
I think those points should be random.
Oh,
Just saying.
mysterious.
I think it
Somewhere
should be-
between
Yeah.
350 and
I
600
think it should be a
points.
mystery what you get.
It just randomly generates your points.
But I'm weird.
I think there's a lot of sense to that. All right. And then, as we said, any cache that you find, which includes events, because we cleared that with Rock Chalk when he was on the show. Any event you attend or any cache you find at all, if it doesn't already qualify in one of those other categories we just said, well, it'll net you 325 points.
Nice.
There you go.
Nothing wrong with that.
Since events count, we should talk about them sometime.
I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
CRS 98 says, Earth caches have a lot of favor points, just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Often they do.
And just finding our way. So an Earth cache with 10 favor points is 1,100 points, at least in my book.
I wish it worked that way, but it's the way that they do their scoring is you get whichever aspect of the cache it qualifies for, you get the highest single point value. So an Earth cache with 10 plus favorite points, which many of them have, would get you 600 points instead of the 500. But there you go.
Nice. So there
I
you
agree
go.
with everybody. It should be 1,100 points, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you find 4 of those and you're done.
Yeah.
Just about. Well, now tonight, I think we've mentioned it. I think we've talked about it. Well, we haven't talked about it, but we've mentioned it. It's all about Earth cache. No, wait. What are we talking? No, it's all about events tonight.
Oh.
Events. Now, maybe we have a new listener who, has joined us in the last year and really doesn't know what an event is, right? Because there hasn't been many in this last year, at least
Not until recently.
in my perspective. Now, I understand that people, let's say down in Australia, maybe New Zealand, have been able to have a few more events than we have. So
Have they?
maybe they should be talking about it and we should be sitting back and listening.
Have they? I didn't know that. I didn't know that they were having
I think
events.
they were having some events while we were still in full lockdown here.
Well, that's probably because they locked down earlier and better than we did.
Yeah, earlier and harder, right? No,
So-
everybody stay home. And you know what? Funny thing, they did.
Yeah.
Everybody stay home. How dare you infringe on my rights?
Oh dear. Anyways, before we get too political.
Did we get political? Sorry. I just said that.
Let's and Chosen 1978 saying no events at the moment. They are currently back in lockdown. I had heard that. I think that's New Zealand. So sorry to hear that, folks.
Sorry.
But let's talk about what types of events there are, Chris. So our new listeners can understand the variety.
Now, there aren't any points involved, but there are different types of events. First and foremost, you have your standard event. That could be a meet and greet. That could be a get together at the waterfront just because, you can have events again. Not saying, just saying. It could be dinner at your favorite pizza place. Okay, it has to be a geocaching event. You just can't go have dinner and call it an event and move on. You've got to plan it a little bit. But, events take on a whole lot of different things. Just meeting in a parking lot outside of a business because maybe it's not open. There's a lot of different ways you can hold an event. Yeah.
And
True.
so what, absolutely, you're right. And I just want to interject with a complete non sequitur. Well, it's not a complete non sequitur, but we are getting feedback from New Zealand and Australia, which is very helpful.
Yeah.
So they're saying that they locked down in, Chosen 1978 saying in New Zealand, they locked down just over 2 weeks ago. And
Garner Casher. I don't know.
Dr.
I'd like to buy a vowel, please.
I'm not sure how you pronounce that caching name, but it's intriguing me now. Anyways, they're sharing that parts of Australia are back in lockdown. Queensland currently free to travel. So there you go. There's the news internationally. Thank you very much, live chat, for informing us on the status.
I mean, we have the best research department of any podcast.
We kind of do.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's Darren.
Darren. Hey, Darren.
Darren Reacher.
I'm guessing.
Could
All
be.
right. All right. Well, moving along.
Darren Archer
Okay, so-
minus vowels.
Yeah, like that.
Darren
Yeah.
Archer minus.
Aaron Archer minus vowels.
Very clever. Okay.
Okay. So we talked about meet and greets. They can
Mhm.
take on a lot of different forms. You know, hey, I'm just in town to do some caching. Let's meet at an ice cream shop. Let's meet at a coffee shop early morning. Just any way you can think about a quick way to get people together. That's your basic event.
Now there is a caveat with that, as I understand it, which is you cannot you cannot have a meet and greet event for the explicit purpose of finding a geocache.
That's true. You cannot have an event for finding a cache. Now, you could do an event before you go out on a cache run, right? So, hey, let's go meet at this restaurant. It's close to a trailhead. We're going to meet and greet, then we're going to go hiking. If you want to come along, you're more than welcome to.
Yes.
Right? So you can't do the meet
That's
and
the way
greet
around it.
you can't do the event. Meet and greet's not a real type. It's what we call them.
Yeah.
You can't do the event for the explicit purpose of finding a cache.
Right.
You can't do an event for commercial projects, right? You
Right.
can't say, hey, come on into my bakery. I'm going to have an event at this time, and I'm going to sell you muffins.
But you can say, let's have an event at this bakery.
Right.
Just as long as you don't say they have delicious goods. I had some.
There's some funny rules around
There
it.
were somebody I know we had a event back in the before times, and they made a comment about the delicious food at this restaurant, and the reviewer said you can't say that. So there was food there.
So
Yeah.
we're going to an event with mediocre food.
Yeah.
I guess we could say that.
So you can say that. There's food.
Yeah, you can eat if you want to.
Suppose.
There you go.
All right.
Now, there's also CITOs. That's not an abbreviation. That is an acronym. CITO, cash in, trash out. CITO, they're pronounced many different ways.
Tau if you're sunny.
But they will always have those four letters, CITO, and in that order, because that's important. This is an event where you're tasked with cleaning up the environment, or the game board, shall we say, of our game. Perhaps you're picking up trash. Perhaps you're cleaning out an invasive species. You could be planting trees. You could be doing lots of things, trail maintenance. Those are the ones I know. Is there any other CITOs you guys have been to that have done something different?
I've only been to one, and it was 10 years ago. So
Oh my. Need to get you out to some events there, Jim.
I've been to events.
Well, CITO events. Yeah, most of the time when we've been to them, they're usually organized in conjunction with a local stewardship group. So either a group that manages some land, trails, etc., or at least a group of volunteers that have stewardship over that area. Often it is things like removing invasive species like Himalayan blackberries or ivy or broom, Scotch broom, things like that. There's various trail maintenance ones. I think I see that. Yeah, GSM times 2, trail maintenance and removing invasive plants. Oh, UDEC, painting over graffiti. Well, that's different. I haven't heard of that before. That's a great CITO type event.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, invasive plants. They're invasive, and they're named that way for a reason, right? They can come in and through just a couple of sprigs take over an entire area and choke out the native species. So coming in and helping, say, your local parks department, maybe it's your city, maybe it's your county or state, they love the extra set of hands.
Yeah.
Right. Come in, you can work side by side with them. Often they'll provide tools, gloves, garbage bags, and then take away what you pull out, be that garbage, plants, whatever. They'll haul that away. And I'm sorry, was somebody saying something?
That's a kudzu.
Or kudzu? Oh boy, kudzu.
Some other types of CETO events I've been involved in have been the removal of tree socks. So I bet you guys didn't know that trees wore socks.
No, well,
Yeah.
only when it's chilly out.
And they
gotta take 'em
usually
off
lose
in
them in the
spring.
dryer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, a tree sock is actually either a fabric or plastic protection that goes around saplings when they're planted to keep the deer from eating them. And then, of course, trees grow as they do, and then you can't bake your cookies in them anymore. And then you have to remove the sock from around the tree. Otherwise, it's constrained. So it's a volunteer activity I've been involved in before. That was kind of fun. So yeah,
Here's one
there's all
from,
kinds of different. Oh, what do we
He
got?
talks to rocks. This is she says my cousin hosts one where they use elephant snot to remove graffiti.
Nice.
Ah,
And why wouldn't you
I
use elephant snot to remove graffiti?
feel like there's a story behind that.
No, that's it. We're just
No,
going to
that's-
move on. I'm just going to let that one hang out there. And I mean, I think this is the first time in the podcast we've used the term elephant snot.
But it may
So-
not be the last.
That's right. I used to get it in the bucket when I worked in high school.
Oh, you had an elephant snot bucket?
We had industrial soap for cleaning. I worked in a fast food restaurant for a very short time, and this soap came in a 5-gallon bucket, and it was kind of the iridescent green, like antifreeze color. And my boss called it elephant snot.
Oh, well, then that's
Mix
probably the same stuff.
Mix a ladle of it into a bucket of hot water to mop the floors with. But so I don't know if it's the same stuff, but it's not the first time I've heard elephant snot.
No, there you go. I feel so educated this evening.
There you go. This is the kind of quality snot you get from me.
Okay.
UDAC is sharing planting trees, and yes,
Planting trees. Yes.
planting trees is also a common CETO type event. I think that's another great option. And again, often these are organized by land management or,
Or geocachers reaching out to land management.
well, yeah. So
Hey,
technically,
like
it's
to have-
organized by somebody who has a geocaching account,
Mhm.
but you're doing it with the land management group.
Right. Now, Ari brings up an interesting point, and he says, standing under a gazebo in the rain in a park that's pretty much spotless, best or worst CETO ever, depending on your perspective. And, I have to admit, I've been to some where it is so well attended that as you spread out, there's very little to pick up. Right. I mean,
Yeah.
percentage wise, right. You get a couple of things and well, that's all I could find. And then there's others where, they're telling you avoid the needles, don't pick those up. We'll come and get those separately. Just
Always.
leave them where they lie.
Yeah,
Mhm.
whether the organizer tells you that or not, if you're doing
That's
a CETO, do not pick up needles. Every community is going to have some sort of program where people who know how to get rid of bio-waste, high-risk bio-waste items like that will take care of it. You just need to let them know where it is. So as a geocacher, you could take coordinates.
There you go. And quite accurate.
Yes.
Starcacher says most of my CETO events have been adopt a highway trash pickup for our local geocaching organization. And
Excellent.
you can do that in Western Washington as well.
Yep. That's great. Yeah. A lot of geocaching organizations have adopted parks, trails, highways, etc. I think that's wonderful when they do that, because then it gives you where the CETO is going to be. So that's always kind of helpful. Yeah, I think that's some great suggestions. I mean, my goodness, we could easily do a show just on CETOs, but I think we need to keep moving along because we've only gotten through the first 2 types of events.
That's right. Okay, so CETOs, we got that. Well, you know what? Let's use this comment because that'll lead us right along. Wet Coaster says, I was at a CETO after a mega in Ontario. The town would clean up the area the week before the mega event so visitors wouldn't see a mess. So it was a very quick and easy CETO.
That's a good idea.
But also, it's really nice after a mega event to clean up, and say as a way of saying thank you to
Yeah.
the landowners that let you use that land for so many people. Now, you may ask, a mega? What is a mega? A mega is an event that has over 500 people in attendance.
That's a lot of
Now,
people.
that's a lot of people, and that's tough to manage because you've got to worry about parking, you've got to worry about potties, and you've got to worry about other things that start with P's. I don't know what they are. Plates of food.
Pirates.
Pirates.
We should always be worried about pirates.
And other things. So
Penguins.
Well, only if it's a Batman villain. Are you done? You're gonna wait for
No,
me to
I'm waiting
talk,
until you
and
start
you're gonna
talking.
come
I'm
up
going to
with
say
another
another P word.
So a mega event is at least 500 people.
Plantains.
There's another type of event in that same category called a giga, and that's more than 5,000 people. Picnics. There you go.
Shouldn't mega be 1,000? Just saying.
You'd think.
Yeah.
They're not.
I think, they realize, man, we're going to get 500 people. That's a lot of people.
That is a lot.
And, kind of thought it'll never get bigger than that. And, wow.
Little did they know.
Exactly. So mega and giga events, large, typically at a larger facility, could be indoors, could be outdoors, right? I've
Yep.
seen them at like county park or county fairgrounds, large convention centers, things like that. Where else could you host, say, a mega or maybe even a giga event there, Land Monkey?
Well, as you said, county fairgrounds, a great example, or, maybe something like an exhibition center.
Yeah, there you go.
Like the Trade X up here in Abbotsford. But yes, when we went to the GeoWoodstock in Texas, it was in an exhibition center. That was really well run, as was the one in Cincinnati, which was at a fairground. So, both of those were massive, huge events, and good options.
Yep. And so you're a mega event, you're expecting 500 people. Parking is always an issue.
Yeah.
Cell reception can be an issue depending on where you are. That many cell phones in one area can saturate towers. So,
what else I was going to say? Like, we're talking about mega and giga events, and one of the key things that differentiates them from, a regular event or a meet and greet. Meet and greets can get big. You can get up to 100, 200 people at them sometimes as well. But often they're not really focused around anything more than a social gathering. Whereas mega and giga events are very often more, I'm going to say, more structured and more conference-like. So, and just because of the sheer size of it, they kind of have to be, so that there's presentations, often musical acts,
usually a main stage,
key speakers. Right? Yeah. There's a lot involved in mega and giga events, and they're a lot of fun. It's a different experience. So that, I think that's probably those. And then we had one other type of event that we were going to list off, and it's a relatively new type of event.
Brand new. Well, not brand new. There haven't been many of them, but the community celebration events. If you've been a geocacher for, I want to say now more than 2 years, right? You probably got one when HQ was handing them out. I don't know if they've handed them out since that. Soon after they were handed out, they had to be started in May. Well, in March of that same year, everything got locked down and not much happened. So I don't know if they've handed out any more to newer cachers who've signed up since then. That would be interesting to find out.
Yeah, I don't think they have. There's a gas station tuna just said, what about GIFs? Now those are standard events. They're just held for a specific purpose, which is to view the GIF films. And for
Right.
those who aren't familiar with GIFs, that's the Geocaching International Film Festival. And Ari has confirmed that the CCEs were handed out only once. There can
Okay.
only be one.
Oh, it was just something I just thought about now, randomly. Well, there you have it. Those are your basic kind of events. Now, there's always a twist, always, something to draw your attention. An event, let's see, there was one up here. Hold on. There was a comment by, I believe it was Roxanne. And I can't find it now. Who said, I'm going somewhere, hosting an event while I'm there, hoping to meet at least one other geocacher. So events don't have to be big.
No,
right?
they don't.
You could now, you do have to plan events at least 2 weeks out.
Yes.
Right? It's not something you can do at the spur of the moment. So if you're going somewhere and you're like, you know what, I'm going to get breakfast anyway. Let's do a meet and greet at the restaurant. I'll get to meet some local cachers. We'll go out and do some caches. This will be fun. If no one shows up, you can still log the event. It was there. It happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as the host showed up.
It's
Yes,
but it's
exactly.
more fun to hang out with more, have some breakfast, pile in a car, run a red light, go cache. It's good.
Exactly. I think you summed it up well, Jim.
Yeah.
Sounds again. There's probably a story behind that, right?
I maybe. I don't know.
I may even know that
Just
story.
spouting off.
White Coaster says, I held an event in Spain where 2 local cachers showed up.
There you go. You met two new people. That's awesome.
So, you don't have to worry that 5,000 people are going to show up at your event.
So guys, if I'm new to the idea of events, I haven't been, let's say I'm new to geocaching or newish, and I've never been to an event. How do I even find out about them? How do I even know it's a thing?
Well, go to geocaching.com.
Ooh.
How about that?
Actually, wit's end, you're exactly right. You go to geocaching.com, you can sort by cache type. An event is a cache type.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying you can view the map and filter the map. Something else you can do is, if you are on the website, there is a little calendar on the right-hand side when you go to look at your, it's not your profile. What page is that?
It's your dashboard.
Your dashboard. Thank you.
And that's what I tend to do because I have it set for 100 miles, within 100 miles of home location. I rarely go to an event that's that far away, but I like to see if there's something super special I want to make a trip for. And that's
cool.
So that's what I use, is that calendar on my dashboard page.
Yeah, I often refer to that as well. I find that's easier than trying to look at the map.
And by the way,
Right.
gas station tuna said a website.
Thank you, gas station tuna. So yeah, that's so that is probably the easiest way to find out. So go to your dashboard, look at the little calendar on the side, and that'll tell you if there's any events in your region coming up anytime in the next 2 months. And then you can click on it and get the details and decide what you'd like to do. And I think the next thing we'll talk about is what you do. How do you let the event hosts know that you will be attending? How do you submit your RSVP for the event?
Ooh. I don't think you should. I think you should just show up out of the blue, not telling anybody you're ever planning to go.
Oh, like I do.
Surprise! It's so much more fun that way. It's a little surprise party. You're the only one knows it's happening. Oh, but you know what? That doesn't work for planning with some
It's
people.
probably not the best thing to do.
No,
Probably not.
there is a mechanism built into geocaching.com that is the will attend log. Ah, that beauty right there will tell you, guess what? I will attend this event. Now, that doesn't mean you're locked in, right? If something happens, you can, if you want to, you could go delete that log. You don't have to. It just gives the the event owner an
Yeah.
opportunity to know that, hey, somebody's coming.
Often local cachers will write a note as the event draws near and say, hey, I got to work late that day, or I have to go to town, not going to make it. So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so you'll know. Lots of chat in the chat here from you guys, which is awesome. Folks are sharing about different experiences they've had at events that either they've hosted or they've attended in other countries when they're traveling. And that's another fun thing with events. And so, when we're talking about letting the host know that you're attending, if you are hosting an event in a foreign area or a new area to you that you're visiting, it's really handy for people to post their will attend so that at least the caching names of the people who are going to show up.
Yeah, and I have to say, posting a will attend is very polite and courteous and helpful for the host or cache owner that's putting the event on, but it's also helpful for you as an attendee, because when the host makes an announcement about this restaurant closes at 6, we're moving the event up to 4 p.m., or I have to cancel this event because stupid lockdowns happen and we have to do this, you'll get a notification whenever there's an update or a note from the event coordinator or host, CO, fill in the appropriate term there.
Really good point. Absolutely. Yeah. The will attends are very useful for those reasons, for sure.
That's right. And if it's a large event, one of those mega or giga, that really helps the organizers know how many people to plan for.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Even CETOs, right? Maybe we need to get a few more shovels and gloves because, look, we're getting 20 people. We only thought we maybe get 15. So let's make sure we have enough equipment for everyone.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And the same for regular events. Maybe, you know what, I was only going to bring a dozen donuts, but 20 people have already done the will attend. So I better go get 2 dozen donuts.
Yep. UDAC and Gas Station Tuna just posted a couple interesting things.
I saw those too. Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't we
start with Gas Station? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't get discouraged if you don't get those will attends early on. That's being the cache owner. If you put an event out there and not a lot of people sign up right away, don't get discouraged, because it seems like a lot of people do it within 2 days of the event. And I know I do that. I don't always know my schedule 2 weeks in advance, a week in advance. So I'll say, hey, I've got some time this weekend. I wonder what events are out there, and I'll go post my will attend.
Yeah, that's pretty common. And then UDAC followed up saying that she prefers people to post will attends for her events, but she also understands that some people prefer not to post them for privacy or personal security reasons. Yeah. So she tries to be flexible. I think that's a great attitude. Yeah. That's
really interesting. I'd never considered security reasons, but that's really well thought of. I hadn't.
We've said it's not a requirement to post it, but it is helpful, and so But we understand if they don't.
3ham says around here you'll get about half of the will attends as people are driving to the event.
Hopefully
it seems that way.
Hopefully that's from the passengers in the car.
Yeah, there's probably a little bit of hyperbole there, but there's some of that as well, and there always is. And it's all right. I think to UDAC's point, you got to always kind of assume and plan that there will be some unannounced guests.
Yes, and as an event attendee, you know what? Have some respect. Read the event. See when it is, where it is. If there's a theme, right? Don't expect to show up early to be able to sign the log and get out of there, right? That's not the whole point of the event. When it's there, it says it's going to start at, let's say, 8 a.m. Don't show up at 7:30 and expect everything to be set up and ready to go. Now,
or show up at 7:30 and help set it up.
That might be the better way to go. I found around here, and I don't think I'm alone, geocachers tend to be early to events.
And stay late.
Yes.
We're social creatures. We are.
So there's nothing wrong with going to an event early. You know what? If you're there and there's nothing set up, go find a couple of caches nearby.
Yeah.
You'll find ways to keep yourself entertained in geocaching.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so Chris, what if you want to host your own event? What do you need to know?
Well, you need to know a location, right? If you're going to host an event, if you've done it before, let's say this is your very first event, you have no idea how many people are going to show up, right? Do you put it at a little hole in the wall coffee shop that has 6 chairs? And what happens if you have 10 people show up? Right? We've all done that. We've all been to an event that's standing room only.
Yeah.
Those can be fun, right? Hey, I haven't seen you in a long time. And then I've been to events where they've had the back room of a restaurant that can seat 50 people.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're going to have that back room of the restaurant and you're only expecting 10 people, that might not be the best use of those resources.
Right. So the first step is to choose where you're going to host the event.
Yeah.
And other options are, if it looks like the weather might be okay, depending on the time of year, up here in the Northwest, anything from September through May, it's probably going to be raining, but but that's why we have lots of shelters in our parks.
Right.
So, picnic shelter in a park is always a fantastic option. That way there's plenty of room.
There's plenty of room. You can go in and out of the shelter as you need, right? People can wander off. At least here in my city, you do have to reserve those ahead of time.
Know the rules for your area, but that'll be on the website. So for your city's Parks and Rec department, go to the website for your city's Parks and Rec department, and they'll have the rules there, and you'll be able to figure out, do I need to reserve this, or is it a first come, first serve? And often there'll be signs either on the shelter itself or in the park too. So you can easily find that information out if you'd like to. But yeah, so absolutely, figure out your location,
and make sure the location will in fact be open at the time you're hosting the event.
Good advice.
Or you'll be having the event in a parking lot.
That's the next thing I was going to suggest is sort of the timing, before we even talk about like a theme or anything like that, because you don't need to have a theme.
No.
But timing, right? Like, think about what's going on that day. Is it midweek? Is it on a weekend? If it's on a weekend, are there other events already scheduled for that weekend that you don't want to necessarily conflict with? So take a look at the geocaching calendar already, see what's already on there, and then think about who you'd like to try and get out to the event, and then sort of work your logistics from there, and the area as well.
I am really hitting the mic tonight. I apologize.
Bad mic.
I know. So right now during COVID, having an event outside is a really good choice, right? Inside, you may or may not be required to wear a mask because, requirements change every other day. And having an event outside, we're outdoor people tend to be, geocachers tend to be outdoor people. So it's okay. If it's raining, we typically have the gear we need to keep ourselves dry in a bit of a rain, right? Not a downpour, not a tornado, not a hurricane.
Not a sharknado.
Yeah, not a sharknado, unless you're handing out chainsaws. Then you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
I've seen the movie. Movies. That's right.
So pick your day, pick your location, pick your time, and then you just go on the website and you follow the same steps you would to
Make a cache.
To make a geocache. Thank you. I was thinking it's not log, I guess submit. a geocache. But anyway, same process, same area on the website,
Mhm.
and it really walks you through it really, really well on the website. So
And as we've said, I think you said already, plan ahead,
yeah,
because you
plan ahead.
can't plan an event, host an event for this weekend. You have to plan 2 weeks in advance.
Right.
out.
Yes. Good point. It has to be 2 weeks in
At
advance.
least. And is it maximum 6 months for a standard event?
I think that's right.
Mm-hmm.
You can go longer if you have previously had a mega, so you know this is going to be a mega.
Right.
There's
Then you can, for mega and giga events, you can do it a year out.
yeah. There's kind of funny rules with it, but you know what? When in doubt, reach out to your reviewer.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Go ahead and put it out. And if the reviewer says, "Oh, we can't do it in this time," resubmit that in a month or so, and then we'll
Yeah.
go ahead and
Yeah.
they're going to help you out. They're not going to slap you down and say, "How dare you try to do this and break the rules?" No, they're nice people, those reviewers. UDAC says, "LOL. I'm glad I'm not the only one who shows up on time and last to their events."
That's funny.
Let's see. Monkey Cake says, "We've hosted events where we've shown up half an hour early to set up, and cashers are not only already there, but have ordered and already eating their meals."
All right. I'm guessing that was like in a restaurant or a cafe or something like
Right.
that from the sounds of it. That's funny.
Sorry.
Yeah. So, I mean, a coffee shop is a very nice location for a morning or an afternoon event, right?
Yes.
People can drop in, they can get what they want. You don't have to host the meal, you don't have to, plan the menus. To show up, you can order, or you don't have to, right? I've been to a lot of events where, you know what, I'm not going to stay long enough to order something, so I'm just going to come in and say hi, talk
Yeah.
to some people, nibble off of their plates, and then walk away.
Nibble off of their plates.
Standard event is 3 months in advance, by the way.
Oh,
There you go. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah. In Canada, that's 90 days.
That's right. Metric days.
oh, that's a difference. Okay.
Yeah.
And just finding our way. Sorry, I had to make sure I corrected that. Said that community celebration events can be planned 6 months in advance.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. We've kind of jumped around here, but Dora Moore brings up a good point. She says, "I'm attending a flash mob event on the 18th. I wonder if I've learned anything from the last several attempts where no one seems to understand how they work."
Oh, I can answer that. No.
No, they won't. It'll still happen like a regular meet and greet. Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Now, events have to be a minimum of 30 minutes long,
Correct.
right? We didn't mention that earlier.
Which
Have
is
to be
tricky for a
minimum.
flash mob event.
Exactly. So that was kind of the whole reason that they came out with the 30-minute rule, is people were having 5-minute events.
And stacking them. Yeah.
Yes. And that's just too hard to coordinate. So
Yeah.
you have to be, as a host, you have to be there at least 30 minutes.
Yeah. And I just used a term that I thought maybe I should define that as well. Event stacking, which is, we mentioned earlier, like take a look at the calendar and make sure there's not other events already happening at the same time as you'd like to have yours. And because there is a minimum amount of time an event should run, and if it's a CCE event, a community celebration event, it has to run for 2 hours. So keep those things in mind. And event stacking is when you have multiple events in close proximity to each other that happen concurrently, and that's heavily frowned
one
upon.
after the other, concurrently or sequentially.
Sequentially is what I meant to say. Sorry, yes, not concurrently, sequentially. And that's frowned upon, so you'll have a hard time getting that published.
Wet Coaster says, if you're just attending, you don't have to stay the entire posted time.
That is true. You don't have to.
Right? You can
Just
pop
the
in and pop
hostess.
out if you need to.
Yeah.
You could come in 5 minutes before it ends, and you still get to log a smiley, just like somebody who stayed there for the entire 2 hours.
Indeed.
So, it's whatever fits your schedule. Don't feel obligated that you have, there's an event, I have to go. Or if I go, I have to stay for the entire time. That's not necessarily the case.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, I think we're probably going to wrap up the discussion around events at this.
We need to. We've gone almost an hour.
We have, and that's just to give a general background. We'll definitely do some more shows and dig in specifically on some of these other event types. What I also want to share is related to events. I had the opportunity to speak with a patron of the podcast and Lackey Ari 54321 this past weekend, which was an absolute pleasure. And
I did as well.
And it turns out he may be coming on the show sometime soon to talk about GeoWoodstock. So,
wait, how come I didn't know that? He didn't mention that when I talked to him.
Yeah, because I got pulled, bro. Anyways, so we're just getting everything cleared with Rock Chalk because he's the boss of everything. And
you're not the boss of me now.
Yeah, apparently he is.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Anyways, but we're looking forward to having Ari join us on the podcast. He was a lot of fun to talk to at the event, and he is he's the guy in the know for GeoWoodstock this year. So looking forward to that. So that's related to events, and I thought I would just throw that teaser out. And we'll also have the GeoWoodstock team on soon to talk some more about that big event. So
I think it's because Land Monkey knows Dear Geocache Guy.
that's my poll.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Well, thanks, guys, for listening. We hope you enjoyed this somewhat disjointed episode because we jumped around a bit. But it was caching in the Northwest.
It was. And of course, we want to take a moment to thank our patrons. That's, of course, Land Sharks and Gold Country Geotourism. Hey, we'll take a moment to thank them. They are our corporate Denali level sponsors. Landsharks.ca is the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. Check them out online. And remember, they're shipping orders daily. And Gold Country Geotour for absolutely amazing geocaching adventures. Check out exploregoldcountry.com. And we want to thank all of our faithful Denali level supporters. That's Landsharks, Gold Country Geotour, Team Squirrel, Groovy Owl, and Cachly, the geocaching app. If you want to know more about supporting this show, click that Patreon link on the CachingNW.com website.
Is everything French to you tonight? Patreon. How about our brand new patron, Korsgott?
What?
Yeah, brand new. Fresh.
That's awesome.
Right
Welcome
out of the
to
oven.
the family.
Welcome, welcome.
He's got
And
that new patron smell.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not even going to touch that comment. I'm just going to welcome our existing patrons who we also appreciate, like Broncos fan for life.
And on a boat.
Sprouter.
Actively in the chat, 3 hems and a rose.
And somebody who met 2/3 of the hosts, Ari, 54321.
You met the best 2/3. How about UDEC?
I would argue that that's the best 2/3. But also, thanks for submitting the glow for this week.
Yes.
2 green words.
Team Noltex.
Fairwood West.
Gittlebarb.
Subway Mark.
CRS 98.
Posting videos and having adventures. It's Keats 94.
You always got to say hi to Peach of Washington.
And Gas Station Tuna.
Antaeus.
Ala Robrick.
MC3 Cats.
And Sege Hove.
Camp Clan.
Limax.
Genies.
Ackerdock.
B. Pendragon.
T. Sayer.
Logwork.
M. Nerve.
Hey, Donners, how's it going? Yeah, we're looking at you.
Kev Mac D.
Doramore.
Trexer Zell.
The Geo Travelers.
GSM times 2.
LG 9000.
Ooh, you talks to rocks.
Wino Seattle.
Kid Vegas 19.
Seaback Tribe.
Boomer 365.
The Tickamagnet.
GeoNav Pros.
Just finding our way.
And bookending with green words, it's Wet Coaster.
Hey guys, should we do the at last question, or should we just skip on and cut the show a little shorter than normal? Well, not shorter than normal. It's already long. You know what? We'll do it. Here, we'll ask this at last segment. I just changed my mind because
He's out of control, folks.
Very quickly.
I can answer it quickly.
Okay.
Ask me.
At last. Listeners asked some things, and now you get to answer. If you'd like to ask a question, you can call into 253-693-TFTC or email your questions at feedback@cashingnw.com. Now, the question is, what is your cell phone wallpaper right now?
Without planning, my last several cell phone wallpapers have all come from the same source. One of the fun things I like to follow on Twitter is the Seattle monorail. And they post nice pictures of the Seattle skyline and historic photos of Space Needle in construction and downtown Seattle from many years ago. So it's fun. So it's another picture from Seattle monorail's Twitter feed.
Nice.
Seattle, picture of the Space Needle. What a surprise.
It's awesome.
Mine happens to be a sunset photo when I was caching with Wits End at Gig Harbor, I believe.
Very nice.
No, what Vashon Island?
It was Vashon Island, but I wasn't going to correct you.
Yeah, I got it right eventually.
Yeah,
nearby. Land Monkey, it's up to you. What's your cell phone wallpaper right now?
I had to think about it. I'm pretty sure it's a photo of sort of a mountain scene I took up in Gold Country. Wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if it looks a lot like this.
Oh.
Just without the Gold Country logo, but something like that.
Let's see. 3Ham says a photo of my wife from about 8 years ago.
Nice.
Was she your wife 8 years ago, or is it a photo? No, I don't want to know. GSM times 2 says no clue. Must have come with the phone.
Fair enough.
Just finding our way. It says sunrise over the superstitions with a large cigarro.
Oh, that's cool. That would be a neat photo.
UDAC says that my cell phone wallpaper is a picture of my husband on our wedding day. The few times he cleaned up well.
That's awesome. I love it.
Oh, that was fun. Hey, folks, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for adding to the chat. You guys really make this show a lot of fun, at least for us. We hope it's fun for you too. But, we're doing it because it's fun for us. And that's why we want to do it each and every week. So thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Your support helps keep quality shows coming. If you like the show, click the Patreon link on the CachingNW.com website. Now, if you didn't like the show, tell us what you want us to talk about. In either case, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and more. Subscribe and give us a very coveted review. You can call 253-693-TFTC and leave us a comment or ask us a question or invite us, into your event any time of the day or night. And of course, you can also email us at feedback@cashingnw.com. Join us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Pacific for a live show and livelier chat. The show is produced by Chris Umfenauer, Jim Paulwitz, and Jay Kennedy. It's licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, copyright 2021 by Chris Umfenauer. And folks, now I ask you to stay tuned for
the after show.
Okay, that was really loud here and just blew out my eardrums. So I don't know if I can do the after show because
you
I'm
can't hear now?
dazed and confused.
That's awesome. We're you all right, Chris?
Huh? Who? What?
Exactly. Yeah, we've gotten to the after show and there's nothing pasted into the chat because we don't have a chat lackey tonight. So we're like, I don't know. There's stuff. Yeah, so we've had a lot of podcast baking tonight. I've seen a few pop up. Startcatcher is he's baking 2 pounds of bacon in 4 batches. That's a lot of bacon.
I'll be over.
That's like 2 meals.
It is. I swear somebody else had podcast baking up earlier.
Yes, of course,
There have been a
Monkey
few.
Cakes did.
Can you
And
find
there
it?
was something still warm coming out of the oven, but I don't remember what it was.
All right. Well, we're going to apologize, folks, that we have not been able to keep up with this stuff from the chat. We've tried to. Here's
But
something.
we're only
different.
human.
We are. Chosen 1978 shared that for FITAS. They got another Adventure Lab. Very cool. They got an Adventure Lab credit. Oh, and that is in a response to UDAC asking
There
if
you go.
anybody
I
else
was
received.
looking for that one. You got it.
There we go. So there you go. Anybody else get Adventure Lab credits
Not me.
recently?
I like the term ad lab.
Ad Lab. Yeah, I haven't heard that before. I like that too. I would, on that topic of ad labs, and I see UDAC also posted something here asking Keats what's the latest on the Canadian Highway series. And I think we'll be reaching out to Keats to get him on the podcast to give us an update soon on the Trans-Canada Highway Adventure Lab series, or the TCHALs.
Good chica.
Kyle got a
Whoops.
third one, surprisingly.
Ah,
Wet Coaster and Greenwords both got an additional Adventure Lab credit.
very good.
Oh, Monkey Cake says no podcasting baking tonight. She's out of town.
Well, my goodness. Well, thanks for watching while you're out
Well,
of
then I
town.
saw somebody else.
I'm sure I saw somebody else. Chosen says that it's Kiwi slang ad lab. That's awesome. I love it.
Love it.
Gas Station Tuna, UDAC. Yeah, there's a few folks who got Adventure Lab credits.
Nice. Well, I'm going to have to use mine up so I can get another one.
There you go.
Folks, thanks for joining us tonight. And until next week, get out,